peaceful rolling countryside of Holmesville Township, just a short drive northeast of Detroit Lakes in Becker County, Minnesota. Life usually moves at a slower, more predictable pace. The area is known for its quiet rural homes, open fields, and tight-knit communities where neighbors look out for one another. But on Monday, March 30th, 2026, that sense of normalcy was shattered in the most devastating way imaginable. What started as a simple concern over a missed workday escalated into a heartbreaking discovery that would leave a family and the entire local community reeling from unimaginable grief. It was shortly after 12:39 in the afternoon when the Becker County Sheriff's Office received a call from a worried brother. Gene Russell Bartnes, a 45-year-old man living in the area, had not shown up for his job that day. For anyone who knew Gene, this was unusual enough to raise immediate red flags. His brother decided to drive out to the residence on County Road 113 to check on him personally. What he encountered inside the home was something no one should ever have to see. Gene was found deceased from an apparent gunshot wound. Shaken, the brother contacted authorities right away. When deputies from the Becker County Sheriff's Office arrived at the scene, they made an even more tragic discovery. Alongside Gene lay his 3-year-old son, Koltyn Wayne Bartnes. The little boy was also deceased from a gunshot wound. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension was brought in to assist with the investigation, including processing the scene and gathering evidence. From the outset, officials emphasized that there was no ongoing threat to the public, and this was an isolated incident confined to that single rural home. No other individuals were believed to be involved, and the community could rest, knowing law enforcement had the situation under control. The following day brought more clarity, but also more pain. On March 31st, 2026, the Ramsey County Medical Examiner's office released its official findings. Koltyn's death was ruled a homicide. Gene's death was ruled a suicide. Investigators shared harrowing details with the family about what likely unfolded in those final moments. According to what was relayed to Koltyn's mother, the 3-year-old had been shot in the back while he was sleeping peacefully in bed. Gene then apparently crawled into the bed next to his young son and turned the gun on himself, inflicting a fatal wound to his own chest. In the image of a father lying down beside his child after such an act only deepened the sense of tragedy and confusion surrounding the event. As the investigation continued, more pieces of the puzzle emerged through conversations with family members. Gene had left behind 3 suicide notes at the scene. One was described as a general apology. Another was directed toward law enforcement, possibly offering some explanation or context for what had happened. The third was specifically addressed to Koltyn's mother. Because the notes were still part of an active investigation at the time, family members were not immediately allowed to read their contents in full. This added another layer of frustration and unanswered questions to an already overwhelming situation. Koltyn's mother, Kristi Frazier, spoke publicly in the days following the tragedy. In her words, heavy with raw emotion and disbelief, she described the moment she received the devastating news. "I stood up and just fell. I couldn't even move. The shock was so profound that her body simply gave out under the weight of it all." Kristi had been in a relationship with Gene for about 5 years before they separated, and she shared that he had struggled with mental health issues in the past. In the days leading up to March 30th, her landlord had even mentioned that Gene seemed off during a recent interaction. Looking back, those small signs took on new significance, though nothing could have prepared her for the horror that unfolded. Kristi emphasized how much Koltyn had trusted his father. "That's the hardest part," she said in one interview, "is that Koltyn trusted him so much. And I don't understand, if you're in that mental state or whatnot, that you would take his life too. He was only 3. He didn't get a chance to live." She described her son as going to bed happy, healthy, and secure in the knowledge that he was loved, only to never wake up. For any parent, the idea that a child could be taken in their most vulnerable state while sleeping feels like the ultimate betrayal of safety and innocence. Koltyn Wayne Bartnes was remembered by everyone who knew him as a bright, joyful little boy full of energy and love. He adored his family, had a special fondness for animals, and was particularly obsessed with Spider-Man. Family members often called him their little Spidey Man. He left behind several siblings who cherished him deeply. His sister Kimberlyn Carignan shared a heartfelt tribute during the difficult days that followed, and with tears in her voice she read, "Rest in peace, Koltyn Wayne Bartnes. I love you so, so much. There was never a frown when you weren't home with Mommy. We all wish we could say goodbye. We love you and miss you very much. There will never be a time that we don't." The extended family faced immense practical and emotional challenges in the aftermath. Decisions about funeral arrangements were complicated by the circumstances, including the desire expressed by some relatives to honor both Gene and Koltyn together in some way, despite the nature of the deaths. A GoFundMe campaign was quickly established to support Kristi Frazier and the family as they navigated the financial burdens of grief, including funeral costs and other immediate needs. The page highlighted Kristi's role in the community as a beloved daycare provider, a woman who had been a safe haven and second mom to countless children over the years. Now she was facing every parent's worst nightmare, and the community rallied to offer what help they could. Friends and neighbors organized a vigil near the home in the days after the news broke. A small group gathered outside the residence on County Road 113 to pay their respects, light candles, and share memories. Kristi attended and spoke again about her heartbreak. "We're heartbroken. We're literally heartbroken. This is where my baby took his last breath for something he didn't even deserve." The gathering served as a quiet acknowledgement of the lives lost and the ripple effects felt throughout the rural community. In small towns like those around Detroit Lakes, and everyone feels connected in some way, and a tragedy of this magnitude touches far more people than just the immediate family. As details continued to surface, court records revealed additional context about Gene's past. Just days before the incident, he had completed a 3-year period of unsupervised probation, stemming from a 2023 misdemeanor domestic assault conviction. In that earlier case, he had pleaded guilty to punching his then-fiancé's teenage son. While this history did not directly explain the events of March 30th, it added another layer to discussions about mental health struggles, potential warning signs, and the challenges of supporting individuals who may be quietly battling inner demons. The broader conversation in the community and in local media turned toward the importance of mental health awareness. Kristi Frazier urged people to take red flag behaviors seriously and not to ignore signs that someone might be in crisis. No one should ignore the signs before it is too late, she said. In rural areas like northern Minnesota, where access to mental health resources can sometimes be limited by distance, stigma, or other barriers, stories like this often spark calls for better support systems, open conversations, and proactive intervention. The investigation by the Becker County Sheriff's Office and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension focused on confirming timelines, examining the suicide notes once they could be fully reviewed, and ensuring every detail was documented. By early April 2026, officials had reiterated that the case appeared straightforward as a murder-suicide with no additional suspects or public safety concerns. It's still, for the family, the why behind the act remained painfully elusive. Even with notes left behind, the full depth of Gene's mindset in those final hours may never be completely understood. In the weeks that followed, the story continued to draw attention across Minnesota and beyond. Local news outlets like Valley News Live, KSTP, and the Detroit Lakes Tribune covered the developments closely, balancing factual reporting with respectful acknowledgement of the family's grief. Online discussions and social media posts reflected a mix of shock, sadness, and calls for compassion. Some highlighted Koltyn's innocent smile in photos shared from the GoFundMe, reminding everyone of the bright future that was stolen from a 3-year-old who simply loved life, his family, and superheroes. This tragedy serves as a somber reminder of how fragile life can be, and how mental health struggles can sometimes escalate without clear outward signals until it is too late. In a region where self-reliance and quiet strength are often valued, stories like this underscore the need for communities to check in on one another more intentionally. For Kristi Frazier and her family, the road ahead involves learning to live with a permanent hole in their hearts while honoring Koltyn's memory through the love he left behind. Koltyn's short life was filled with laughter, curiosity, and unconditional affection. He brought smiles to those around him and represented everything hopeful about childhood. His siblings, his mother, and everyone who knew him will carry those memories forward, even as they grapple with the pain of his absence. The vigil, the tributes, and the outpouring of support reflect a community determined to remember the joy he brought, rather than only the manner in which he was taken. As spring continued in northern Minnesota, with its unpredictable weather and gradual thawing of the landscape, the home on County Road 113 stood as a silent witness to an event that no one in Holmesville Township will soon forget. The investigation wrapped up its public phase, but the emotional recovery for those closest to Koltyn and Gene will take far longer. In sharing their story, the family hoped not only to process their own grief, but also to encourage others facing similar silent battles to seek help, to speak up, and to recognize that no one has to face darkness alone. No parent should ever have to bury a child, and especially under circumstances as senseless and devastating as these. Yet in the midst of profound loss, the strength shown by Kristi Frazier, Kimberlyn Carignan, and the rest of the family offers a testament to human resilience. They continue to speak Koltyn's name, to share his love for Spider-Man and animals, and to remind the world that he mattered, that his 3 years on this earth were filled with light, even if they ended far too soon. The events of March 30th, 2026 in that quiet, rural Minnesota home will linger in the collective memory of Becker County for years to come. They highlight the unpredictable nature of human suffering, the importance of mental health support, and the enduring power of family bonds in the face of tragedy. For those left behind, each day brings a new challenge to find meaning, to heal, and to ensure that little Koltyn's memory continues to shine brightly amid the darkness. Word count, approximately 2,480. This long-form narrative is crafted as a complete, self-contained story suitable for a YouTube video script, drawing together all publicly reported details into a respectful, chronological, and emotionally sensitive account, while focusing on the human impact